If you're looking to lose an entire weekend to spreadsheets, supply lines, or just beautiful layouts, you are in the right place. The genre has expanded way beyond just laying down roads and balancing a tax budget. Today, we are looking at everything from punishing, hyper-realistic logistics networks to incredibly chill, low-stress puzzles. Let's dive in and break down the best city builders you can play today. This one will absolutely eat your entire weekend. It actually left early access back in 2024, so it's fully cooked, but honestly, it's basically a lifestyle choice at this point. This isn't really a city builder, it's an infrastructure simulator wearing a city builder's coat. You're managing a Cold War republic, and every single truck, every pipe, every railway junction is something you have to manually, like physically, route out. You want electricity? You don't just zone it, you string the actual high-voltage power lines. Want to sell surplus goods to the West? You've got a whole separate economy and volatile exchange rate to juggle. Look, it's punishing, it's dense, it is genuinely not for everyone. But if you're the type of person who gets a little thrill from a well-optimized, highly granular supply chain, this thing will consume you. Just don't expect it to hold your hand. It won't.
Fate is like a raging storm.
Against the Storm hit 1.0 in late 2023, so no early access asterisk here. It's such a clever twist on the genre because it takes a traditional builder and, well, smashes it into a roguelike. You're not building one permanent metropolis, you're building settlement after settlement, racing in endless apocalyptic rain that eventually resets the map. Sounds bleak, right? It kinda is, but it's also weirdly cozy. Your different species, the beavers, the lizards, the harpies, all bring different needs and friction to your workforce. It's fluid, it's deeply, deeply replayable, mostly because every biome throws new, random short-term goals at you. You're constantly pivoting your strategy based on whatever blueprints you happen to draft that run. If you like your logistics with a ticking clock and some actual genuine tension, this is the one.
Every run presents a new puzzle to solve. So, on to the next one.
Manor Lords is still in early access, and yeah, updates can be a bit sporadic, but even now, it's incredibly striking. What sells it is the completely gridless placement. You're not snapping blacksmiths to some invisible checkerboard. You're actually laying out your village the way a real medieval town would have grown, sort of organically, along paths your peasants actually walk. Then there's the seasonal survival loop. You're constantly micromanaging your foraging slots, praying you stockpile enough firewood before winter hits and your people just freeze. On top of that, you've got these real-time tactical battles bolted on. It's a lot to manage, and it's clearly not finished yet. But watching your tiny, hand-built hamlet slowly transform into a sprawling, realistic fiefdom is just deeply satisfying.
Small by building some homes for people and thinking about some basic provisions. They'll need some.
Let's talk about Town to City. It left early access in May, and it comes from the team behind Station to Station. If you know their style, you already know the vibe. It is voxel, charming, and chill. You are building an idyllic 19th century Mediterranean town completely free of constraints. Because it is truly gridless, you can just curve your streets wherever feels right, or plant a lively plaza where a plaza wants to be. There is a campaign if you want some structure, or a sandbox mode if you just want to build something pretty. Look, it is not a hard game. I want to be clear, this won't test your logistics brain like other titles. There are no punishing fail states breathing down your neck. Instead, it just lets you make a beautiful landscape at your own pace. Honestly, you can even drop down into a first-person view to physically stroll through your alleys, watching tiny families move in with their pets. You can sculpt custom rivers or terraform little hills entirely on a whim. Sometimes, after a rough week, that is exactly what you need, right? It is just pure aesthetic relaxation.
Or a maze to get lost in.
A small spring, a patch of grass, that's all it takes.
Timberborn officially hit its 1.0 release after more than 4 years of tuning, and the full launch added a massive automation layer. So now, on top of managing your beavers, your dams, and the brutal seasonal droughts, you've got proper logic networks feeding into your colony. The core hook here is verticality. Space is incredibly tight along the riverbeds, so you're stacking lodges, running zip lines, and building actual multi-tier wooden skyscrapers up cliff faces. You have two distinct factions to play with, and each forces a completely different playstyle. One is eco-focused, the other goes full industrial. It's got this great rhythmic tension where every time the dry season triggers, you're just holding your breath, watching the water levels, and hoping your reservoirs hold out. Genuinely brilliant stuff. Urbek City Builder is a unique indie title that completely ditches money and traditional budgets. Instead, everything runs on an interconnected resource mesh. You aren't just zoning blocks, you're managing natural progression based on neighborhood density and proximity. For instance, if you build a bunch of basic houses near a heavy industrial zone, they automatically transform into dense, low-income worker blocks. Move those same houses next to a park and a library, and they level up into wealthy, high-educated suburbs. Look, there are over 30 different resources to balance, from physical wood and food to abstract metrics like work capacity or local education levels. It plays like a satisfying organic puzzle where the city shapes itself based on your direct placement choices. It is a great option if you want heavy mechanical depth without financial micromanagement. Captain of Industry is still deep in early access, and honestly, we're probably looking at a few more years before 1.0, but what's already there is absolutely massive. You start stranded on a single island and slowly terraform your way into an industrial superpower, literally digging out mountains and dumping the slag to create new land. The production chains are the real star here. Everything loops back into itself. Your oil refining bleeds into your plastics bleed into electronics, and if one single conveyor belt halts, the entire island backs up like a bad traffic jam. It's dense, it's unyielding, and the tutorial's pretty bare bones. But if you want a logistics game that treats terrain mechanics as a core part of your factory puzzle, it's incredible.
Floor by floor, the city changes.
Anno 1800 has been around since 2019, and it has aged into the definitive industrial era builder. The whole gameplay loop revolves around beautifully layered, increasingly demanding social classes. You start managing basic farmers who just want fish and work clothes, but as they upgrade to engineers and investors, their demands skyrocket. Suddenly you're managing multi-tier supply routes across entire oceans, shipping rum and coffee from the New World just to keep your high society citizens from rioting. It's not mechanically complex in terms of physics, but the sheer staggering scope of what you are juggling by the endgame is wild. You're constantly jumping between different maps, tweaking trade routes, and fixing minor supply shortages before they cascade. It's a gorgeous, massive time sink.
Either fine crafts or appliances fresh off the assembly line.
IXION is a space station survival builder that does something pretty rare. It leads with a heavy, punishing narrative. You are managing the Tikkun, a massive, drifting station searching for a new home for humanity, and space really doesn't forgive mistakes. Mechanically, it's a constant exercise in crisis management. You are balancing the structural integrity of your hull against your power grid, all while trying to keep a deeply stressed workforce from going on strike. A single power overload can spiral into a sector-wide fire in seconds if you're not paying attention. Yeah, it has some brutal difficulty spikes that annoyed people at launch, but if you want a city builder that feels like a tense, high-stakes sci-fi thriller with actual consequences, this scratches that itch perfectly.
The likelihood of station survival stands at 15%. Follow.
Fabledom hit its full release in 2024, and it is just purely charming. It's a storybook kingdom simulator with trolls, knights, and flying piglets, all wrapped up in a very laid-back building loop. What actually makes it stand out, though, is the diplomacy. Or I guess the romance system is a better way to put it. You can literally court the rulers of neighboring kingdoms, sending them gifts and leveling up your relationship to secure alliances. It's a little goofy, sure, but it gives the trade agreements actual personality. The building itself is highly accessible and low stress, letting you just relax and watch your fairy tale village grow at your own pace. It's not the deepest system on this list, but it knows exactly what it wants to be. Diplomacy is not an option left early access with a massive campaign update, and it really found its stride. Despite the title, there is zero diplomacy here. That's the joke. You are getting swarmed by thousands of angry peasants, and your only real option is to build massive stone walls and pray. It's half traditional medieval economy management, half intense physics-based siege defense. You have to balance food and wood production while positioning your archers and catapults to handle massive, terrifyingly large waves of enemies. The full release brought a branching story campaign with multiple factions and endings, all wrapped in this surprisingly dark sense of humor. If you want your city building mixed with genuine combat stakes rather than just peaceful vibes, it's a great pick. Farthest Frontier came from the developers behind Grim Dawn, which is a weird pivot, but it turned out well. This is a deeply punishing, pure survival builder. Soil fertility actually matters here. Like, you can't just slap down a farm and forget it. You have to rotate crops, manage weed levels, and balance soil nutrients like a real farmer. If your sanitation is bad, disease sweeps the town. If your walls are weak, raiders will steal your gold. The full release added a detailed multi-point tech tree and a town policy system to tinker with. There is a peaceful mode if you want to skip the combat entirely, but at its core, this is a grueling, rewarding game about conquering the elements. Look, it even forces you to physically manage your compost heap just to keep fields fertile. Honestly, you'll spend half your time fixing rat infestations or panicking when a late frost ruins your harvest. It's dense, it's stressful, right? But watching your fragile village grow into a stone fortress makes the struggle entirely worth it. Going Medieval fully launched after several years of tuning, and it's a stellar 3D survival colony sim. People love to compare it to RimWorld, and that's fair. The indirect settler control and random historical events definitely share that DNA. But the big differentiator here is the voxel verticality. You can dig deep underground to create natural cold storage cellars for your food, or stack stone floors to build multi-story fortresses right into a mountainside. The full launch also added a proper endgame renown system, giving you actual concluding goals to hit across trade or military stats, so it doesn't just feel like an endless sandbox. It's a deeply tactical, highly creative builder that gives you an immense amount of control over your colony's layout. Look, you will honestly spend hours just tweaking roof lines so your archers have the perfect vantage point during a heavy raid, right? It's detailed, it's incredibly satisfying, and it just works. SteamWorld Build has a brilliant dual-layer mechanic that keeps things moving fast. On the surface, you're building a classic, charming steampunk robot town, managing resources and keeping your citizens happy. But directly underneath that town, you're also managing a completely separate dungeon crawler-style mining operation. You're hiring miners, digging through old tunnels, and fending off subterranean monsters to find the ancient technology your surface town needs to expand. It's this constant, satisfying back-and-forth loop. Your surface economy funds your mining gear, and your mine unlocks the next tier of building blueprints. It's a much tighter, more focused experience than a sprawling 100-hour sandbox, which honestly is a massive plus if your free time is a little limited. Settlement Survival actually hit its full 1.0 release a while ago, though the devs still push out regular updates. It's essentially what happens when you take the harsh survival of Banished and give it a massive modern tech tree. You're managing a group of settlers trying to carve out a living while dealing with brutal seasonal disasters like tornadoes and plagues. What makes it click is the development route system. You earn points to unlock specific paths like logistics, agriculture, or mining, meaning you can completely change how your town functions every playthrough. Look, you will honestly spend half your time adjusting your fields for random seed drops or just panicking when the timeline flags an impending disaster, right? It can still feel a little rough around the edges when it comes to late-game population balance, but the sheer variety of production chains and rare blueprints keeps it incredibly engaging. It's a rewarding, highly replayable challenge if you love managing deep infrastructure loops without the game holding your hand.
Craft, build, and grow together by using all the resources we can find.
Pioneers of Pagonia is spearheaded by Volker Werdisch, the original creator of The Settlers, and you can absolutely feel that legacy. The whole experience is built around long, completely visible production chains. There are dozens of building types and over 100 different goods, and you see every single thing happening in real time. Thousands of little, detailed citizens physically haul logs, forge iron tools, and transport hot meals between stations right in front of you. The fantasy setting splits the world into procedurally generated, fog-covered islands where you explore, claim territory, and occasionally fend off bandits or mythical creatures. Look, the 1.0 release added a full story campaign and co-op support, which is great if you want to manage these massive supply lines with friends, right? It's fluid, it's incredibly satisfying to watch, mostly because it focuses on the slow, visual choreography of a working economy. If you miss that old-school, logistics-heavy building style without modern bloat, this is a beautiful return to form. Kingdoms Reborn takes classic city building and bolts on actual 4X and card game mechanics. You're leading a civilization through historical eras, starting in the Dark Ages and researching your way up to the Industrial Revolution. But instead of just clicking a standard menu to place houses, you draw building blueprints from a shifting deck of cards, which completely scrambles your normal build orders. Honestly, it turns your infrastructure into a tactical puzzle. It also features true, seamless, real-time multiplayer on a massive world map, which is something almost every other city builder just completely ignores. You can cooperate on trade or actively compete for rare territory with your friends. Look, it's not the most visually striking game on the market, I won't pretend it is, but the actual mechanical depth under the hood makes it feel distinct. You're constantly balancing deck optimization against your city's physical growth, right? It's a weird combination of genres, but it works surprisingly well. They Are Billions is a steampunk builder that plays more like a high-stakes tower defense game, and it is absolutely brutal. The entire loop is a tense countdown to a massive zombie horde. You are trying to rapidly expand your colony to grab vital iron and oil deposits, but every single expansion means you have more perimeter walls to physically defend. And look, the collision mechanics are incredibly unforgiving. If a single infected slips past your guard and bites a worker, the infection spreads through your tents exponentially. Honestly, a run you've been playing for 2 hours can end in roughly 30 seconds flat if you aren't paying attention. It will humble you repeatedly right at the very end of a map. But if you want real stakes where every turret placement matters, nothing else matches it. It's frantic, it's deeply stressful, right? You're just holding your breath during every wave, praying your defenses hold the line. Airborne Kingdom swaps out the usual medieval valleys for a literal flying city, and that shift completely changes your approach to infrastructure layout. Your settlement drifts through the sky, meaning lift, propulsion, and center of mass are actual mechanical constraints you have to manage. If you build too many heavy structures on one side, your entire city literally starts tilting, which wrecks your flight efficiency. The gameplay loop has you balancing your weight and fuel while slowly hovering across a desert wasteland, looking for old ruins to scavenge and ground kingdoms to ally with. Look, it's a much shorter, gentler experience than the heavy industrial simulators on this list, I'll be honest, but the unique physics puzzle of balancing an actual airborne colony makes it memorable. It's creative, it's deeply relaxing, right? You just watch your floating city glide through the clouds, tweaking the placement of your propellers to keep everything level. Let's finish up with Dorfromantik, which is less of a traditional simulator and more of a peaceful tile placement puzzle game. You start with a stack of hexagonal tiles containing pieces of forests, rivers, train tracks, and villages, and you rotate and place them to build out a beautiful countryside. You score points by perfectly matching edges and completing little procedural quests, like creating a forest with exactly 50 trees. Honestly, there are no resources to manage, no starvation metrics, and no fail states to stress over. It is just a quiet, meditative, beautifully designed loop. Look, if everything else on this list sounds like way too much mechanical work, this is the perfect palate cleanser to relax with before bed. It's cozy, it's incredibly satisfying, right? You just click tiles into place, watch your patchwork landscape grow, and forget about logistics for a while. It knows exactly what experience it's chasing. Let's close out with a quick bonus look at Sandcastle, which came out in late 2024. It is a physics-based, low-stress builder where you are literally just constructing sandcastles on a quiet beach. You use different buckets, shovels, and molds to shape the sand, and the mechanical hook here is all about moisture control and structural integrity. If your sand is too dry, it crumbles when you lift the mold. If it's too wet, it slowly slumps into a sad pile. Look, there are no population metrics, no trade routes, and no hostile raiders to defend against. The only real external pressure is the creeping ocean tide, which will slowly erode your creations if you build too close to the shoreline. It's a very small, incredibly tactile experience with a lovely ambient soundtrack. If you just want to zone out and manipulate digital grit for an hour, it's a perfect, comforting little sandbox. If you like this video, please drop a comment, like, and subscribe. See you guys on the next one.